Hello, you beautiful human. I am Xanthe, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you an interview that I did with Cassie. She is actually straight, but she is a great ally, and I've known her for many years. I really hope you enjoy her perspective and what she says, and let's get into it.
And know that you're not alone. That's the main thing.
Somebody that is going to take you in. Love yourself.
Being your truest self and going from there.
Once you come out, most of the time, things feel easier.
It's a community, and we're all here to help each other.
It was lovely to see you.
You as well.
It's really not good. It was a very big mistake.
Oh no. Because, rainbows.
Well, there's that.
Rainbows are pretty good.
Hello, Cassie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Anyway, I haven't done an interview with an ally before, so this is gonna be fun.
Oh, exciting.
What do you identify as, Cassie?
Straight. Very plain.
Solid. And then, do you know anyone personally who is in the community other than myself?
Yeah, well, obviously you. I have a few other friends who are queer in whatever capacity, and my sister is bi.
Okay. All right. And when was the first time you heard about anything to do with the LGBTQ community?
It's kind of a funny story. I was young, maybe 3 years old. It was before I was even in school, and I was watching, I think, Say Yes to the Dress or something like that on TV with my mom, and there were two men getting married, and they had a daughter together, and I was a little confused. I was like, what? Like, why are these two guys kissing? And my mom explained, oh, they're getting married. And I said, well, how do they decide who's the mommy and who's the daddy to their kid?
Yeah. Wow. And so your mom was like, she's okay with that kind of stuff and explaining it to you? Yeah,
I think she doesn't know that much about the LGBTQ plus community, so for her it was a little touchy to explain, but it was just sort of, oh, they're getting married just like how your dad and I got married. And that was sort of as far as we went into this discussion.
Yeah, that's impressive. I didn't even know what it was when I was that young. And so yeah, you were confused about it. When was the first time that, did it make more sense to you, as you got older?
It definitely, I guess every kid sort of thinks their situation is the universal situation for all kids.
Yeah.
So it definitely took me a long time to understand fully. And I didn't have any friends with gay parents, or I didn't really hear anything about the gay community until probably grade 5. Okay. And so it took me a long time to wrap my head around.
And did you think it was weird or meh when you first?
I definitely was very confused by it. Just sort of, there's not much representation or explanation. So obviously I hear all about marriages in the straight community. I hear all about how straight marriages work and stuff, and it was definitely very confusing. For sure. And there was a lot of internalized homophobia to get over.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So what is your opinion now on the community?
I would say my opinion is just that I'm really happy that there is a community now. Watching or listening to stories of older people who didn't have that community available to them and had to sort it out themselves, members of the community. It's definitely, I'm just happy that there is a community for people who are struggling to reach out to, and even for me as a straight ally to go and learn more, because there's so many resources available where I would never hear about any of this stuff, and I would never learn to accept it or to embrace it if there wasn't the community that there is.
Yeah, for sure. When did your sister come out, and how is that on your family?
My sister came out to me multiple times saying, I think I'm bi, oh, never mind, I'm straight, oh, I think I'm gay, I'm queer, I don't know. And it was a long time. She was maybe 11 when she first came out to me, and then it took her until she was 17 or 18 to come out to my family. So for me, it was just sort of like, oh, well, like, whatever, you're my sister, I don't really care. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it, and like, I'm a little weirded out by it, but you're my sister, it is what it is. And then by the time she came out to my family, I had learned a lot more. And so I was sort of the bridge between her and my family, because my family is not homophobic. They do not actively hate any, but they are very uneducated on those sorts of topics. Like, definitely just a lack of knowledge. And so I was sort of the bridge between, I had learned a lot more and I was now an ally. I wasn't confused. I wasn't weirded out by it. So I could bridge it where my family was, they had a hard time accepting it because she came out as bi, where a lot of the time it was sort of, if you were gay, we would get it. If you were straight, we would get it. But you have to pick one. You have to decide, like, do you like boys or do you like girls? And I think that was really hard for her. So it was good that I could explain it to my parents. I could show them the resources that the LGBTQ plus community has made so available.
Mhm. That's amazing. And if do you think that if you didn't know someone personally who was in the community, that would be like harder for you to understand?
Absolutely. I think it would absolutely be harder to understand and harder to accept, where coming from the environment I come from, it took me a long time to not just accept it, like not just say, okay, it's whatever, like you're gay, I don't really want that near me, but you do you. Whereas now, like, because I have so many friends that are in that community, I can actually like embrace it, and I know so much more, and they've like shown me how it's like part of their identity. Because for me it was a lot of the time it's like, okay, you're gay, I don't need that to be part of your personality trait, like that's just who you're attracted to. And then I started to understand, like, they had to fight to come out, they had to go through all of that. And so it was definitely, if I didn't have those people in my life, I would probably still be a little homophobic, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to grow up and get rid of that mindset, because it's so toxic.
Well, that's amazing that you're able to share that. Thank you. And what would you say is like the hardest part of understanding it?
For me personally, it was understanding the gender spectrum, because I identify so strongly with being female and femininity. And so even accepting, like, a woman can transition to being male, as I started to accept that, it was really hard for me to understand the in between, how it's a whole spectrum, and people who just don't identify with anything on that spectrum. And that was definitely really hard to come to terms with, because I never even thought about it. Gender just wasn't something that came to my mind. And I was definitely judgmental of people in the trans community for a long time. And that was hard to come to terms with, but understanding it now, I'm so proud that those people are brave enough to do it in a society where people like me were judging them.
Yeah, and even in the community, there's still like I'm lesbian, and like it kind of took me a bit to understand like bisexuality and like trans because I'm not them, so it's obviously harder to understand, right? So yeah, exactly. And then what is the easiest part about um, like being an ally?
Understanding that everyone is human, and that means that everyone deserves acceptance and validation. And if someone is gay, that doesn't change who they are as a person. And if someone is queer in any way, that does not at all affect who they are. And if you care for someone, or even if you don't care for someone, it's who they are is not affected by who they're attracted to or
Hmm.
how they identify.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who is trying to accept someone for just coming out to them, whether that's gay, bisexual, whatever? Like, what would you say to them to kind of help them accept that person?
I would say that they need to put their feelings aside for a moment and have a conversation with that person and just try to understand it. Because just accepting someone and saying, okay, whatever, is not the same as embracing that and validating them for who they are. So it's definitely learn as much as you can, and that it's okay to come from a background where you weren't taught about that. It's okay to have a background where you weren't accepting, as long as you grow and learn. And this is your opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people in the community judge straight people because they're like, oh, well, they're homophobic. But like you saying that, hopefully whoever's watching this, if they're part of the community, will help them realize that even if you start off like that, like you can grow and you can understand. Because most of the time it's hard to understand, obviously, if you're not that person. So this definitely helps you tell it, like saying that and everything. So yeah, thank
I
you.
really hope it helps someone.
Yeah, I think you have. And yeah, is there anything else you would want to say to someone who is watching this video, whether they're straight or part of the community?
Just to show everyone love and respect, and to care for as many people as you can, because that's what this whole community is about. It's about teaching everyone, and it's not just for people who are queer, it's for allies as well, so that everyone can feel loved and accepted.
For sure. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you so much for being with me, Cassie, and taking the time to talk and helping whoever's watching this video. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like for Cassie, and just then I know if you like this kind of content. Subscribe for more videos, hit the little bell to get notified every time I post a new video. I post every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I post LGBTQ plus related content. Right now I'm doing interviews, but in the future I will be doing more skits and fun little videos. So in the meantime, here are some more videos for you to watch. I'll see you next week. Bye!